Right? Vlog was the COO of PSA, the terminal operator which handles transshipment in the busiest container transshipment hub in the world. So that's over to him.
And good evening to all. Firstly, let me congratulate MPA and PS71 for organizing SPC 2020. In spite of this unusual environment that we're currently in, and my appreciation to you for your invitation to share my perspective on digitization in the maritime industry. Indulge me with just a quick self-intro. Spent most of my adult life working in the port, joined the then Port of Singapore Authority in 1990, which was a port authority of one country of 3 million people, but handling a volume of about 5 million TEUs then. I eventually left PSA International in 2018, which was by then a global terminal operator in 16 countries, handling a volume of 81 million TEUs. So as you can see, most of my work life was spent on port planning, terminal development, and container operations. My first immersion with technology was in the year 2000, when I was asked to spearhead PSA foray in the .com. I set up portnet.com and secured port community system projects in 5 global sites. Subsequently, in 2015, I was appointed as PSA's first ever CTO. I went on to spend the next 3 years sensing and making sense of this digital disruption that we're facing, mapped our digital strategy, and laid out our implementation roadmap. I'm now a social volunteer working with underserved students and work with corporates occasionally to help them navigate the digital journey. So the brief today given for the session was to address what startups need to look out for if they're coming in for the first time, specifically what types of innovation, technology that the industry has been doing and looking at, and whether this would change with COVID-19. And given that my exposure is with the container side of things, I seek your understanding that I'm naturally inclined to confine my sharing to container shipping and terminals. So what was the industry doing with digitization before COVID-19? I think the industry, in a snapshot, was warming up to the idea of digitization, and most major stakeholders were taking very concrete steps. They have allocated resources, set up digital organizations, mapped strategies and transformation roadmaps, initiated technology POCs to test out the pain points, invested and entered into partnerships with startups and IT companies. So for all of you startups that are new to container shipping, which was never quite a poster boy for technology adoption, as the industry was perpetually preoccupied with staying afloat in a highly competitive and commoditized business. But it is also in the midst of this consolidation, and when the industry decided to focus on rolling out mega ships, that digitization conversation started. The ships has a price tag of in excess of US 150 to 190 million. And so there were high expectations that these mega ships would be that magic pill to survive and gain a competitive position with extreme economies of scale and new operating efficiency, particularly in fuel consumption then. So happened that this coincidence of events, mega ships and digitization, gave us a window and opportunity to go beyond physical upsizing and to tap on digital technology to redesign onboard operating systems, processes, and ship infrastructure. These mega ships subsequently triggered a cascade effect to ports and the need to perform and cope with increased scale of operations, both in terms of volume and density, and while facing constraints of land and labor, ports had to upgrade infrastructure, equipment, and operating systems. As investment capex are large, planners had not much of choice, and also the extra motivation to leverage on digital technology and embed them in upgraded and new infrastructure, equipment, and systems, partly to justify service levels, improve productivity, cost efficiencies, and also to justify ROIs. So if I were to look back and summarize what were the areas of technologies that were useful to the industry, particularly the container ports and shipping side of things, there are probably 4 clusters of technologies. I think firstly, digital connectivity. Driven by the pervasiveness of mobile devices and cheap wireless comms, cloud computing became prevalent in office-based, admin-based processes for easy storage, retrieval, to share use of data and documents. So that started the ball rolling. Then on board ships and terminal operation shop floors, connectivity was expanded to mount IoT sensors on equipment, on ships, on structures, machineries, to support the setup of analytics-based insights, to cut wastages and improve cost efficiencies. Some use cases of data analytics that has been tried and implemented are achieving better visibility of machinery conditions and performance, data-supported scheduling and execution of maintenance works. Cost savings are achieved through dynamic condition-based maintenance instead of the previous static intervals. Secondly, extend ships and cranes operating lifespan with data acquisition and health monitoring of key components and structures so that preventive changes can be effected before breakdowns happen. The third use case of data analytics were to employ integrated visualization tools so that breakdowns and maintenance repairs can be better coordinated given the better visibility. Another use case would be the use of smart containers, which allows reverse containers with high-value cargo to be actively monitored while in transit. Last but not least, AR, VR technologies were tested in terminals to complement remote access setup, so that off-site maintenance expert help and support are available 24/7. Now, the second cluster of technology involves around very hardware, robotics, and automation. The use of automation systems on board smart ships, which resulted very quickly in fewer crewing to man the ships. Example, integrated computer-based systems, monitors and controls automated installations, and also of areas where machineries are not attended all the time. Another example with smart reefer containers having temperature monitored, as I mentioned, without the crew having to make a physical trip to the containers. On the land side, with automated and remote control cranes, AGVs, driverless trucks, ports could reduce manning levels and lower its dependency on labor availability to provide always-on and uninterrupted operations 24/7 and to deliver sustained operation performance. Another smart system, both very hardware focused, was drones that were developed for the inspection of hard-to-reach places on land, under deck, inside, outside, under ships, with faster, safer, and more accurate inspections when complemented with advanced OCR and video analytics. And finally, where areas where automation was still not quite practical, example, lashing of containers on board ship, coning, deconing of containers, experimentation of use of robotic arms and exoskeletons to support heavy lift operations to delay the effect of fatigue could potentially sustain longer operations. Now, coming to more software, the third cluster of technologies that were put in place were looking for smarter computers that were powered by AI and machine learning. This could crunch large volumes of data and support more complex planning and optimized operations. With ships doubling in size, lots of volumes of containers to be handled, some of the decisions and data points that were given were just humanly impossible to handle. Now, digital visualization, simulation tools provided an alternative to human imagination, enable users to see effect of decisions on outcomes in virtual environment before they are executed in live environments. Smart systems on board ships using analytics, AI, help the master plan and make decisions to optimize fuel efficiency, as well as things like optimizing sailing routes and speed so that you can reduce fuel consumption, trim optimization with AI-assisted storage allocation. Finally, automated equipment monitoring system on board ships with self-diagnostics, self-recovery, and providing remote access also serve to provide higher availability and improve reliability. At the landside terminal, smart TOR systems with AI optimization could be used to handle complex and larger interdependent resource scheduling, space management, equipment, and ops coordination. Advanced power monitoring systems on board cranes can regenerate and reduce electrical consumption used by the cranes. Analytics were used in a big way for forecasting of container demands geographically, though not always with the good results, to plan repositioning so the cost of unnecessary empty repositioning could be avoided and customer service could be improved. One last point on smart system was the introduction of cloud-based collaboration software that facilitated joint planning with partners. Example, network planning, scheduling, pooling, and sharing of assets. We also saw the use of collaborative systems such as Svela to synchronize on-board storage plans with terminal yard distributions so that crane productivity can be improved and ship turnaround time can be shortened. Finally, the fourth cluster of technology that were used were in managing digital workflows and platforms. Now, there are probably three types of platforms. I think one, there were traditional platforms such as port community systems, online websites that facilitated electronic shipping transactions, planning of containers, booking of slots, track and trace, information and documentation exchange, usually using EDI. Gate scheduling and operations workflow management were offered on port community systems and online booking platforms. New technologies such as cloud and blockchain and AI enabled traditional platforms to upgrade and expand their functionalities, as well as integrate with other trade and logistics supply chain platforms became available with digitization. Example, Intra with E2 Open. The second cluster of platforms were new marketplace and data sharing platforms. Example, Port-Base in the Port of Rotterdam, Freightos, Frexport, Holio, which promoted data sharing and reduces data rehandling, streamlined digital workflows, and actually also provided new marketplace type of asset sharing using the Uber model to enable equipment owners better collaboration and pooling of resources to maximize their utilization. Finally, the last group of platforms would be the next generation platforms in partnerships with IT giants. For example, GSBN, Global Shipping Business Network, TradeLens, which is a partnership between Maersk and IBM, Calista, a PSA initiative with GATS, are digital collaboration platforms that were formed by carriers, ports, customs, banks, shippers, logistics service providers that cuts across the supply chain. The use of blockchain technology to digitize, automate, and connect trade financing, regulations, regulatory documentation, logistics documentation flows with multi-party access to update and share consolidated information on a single shared view. This increases visibility, speed, minimizes costly hiccups and movement caused by documentation errors. I guess the eventual objective of such platforms would be to synchronize the where, which is the IoT of physical goods, with what has been approved, how has it been processed, what is the status of approval, which is the IoT of documents, to enable a merger, a better synchronization of forecasting and coordination of logistics flow. The next question that I would like to tackle was that with COVID-19, has focus areas shifted? And if yes, what are the new focus areas? I guess it's no-brainer, as COVID definitely has affected everybody. It's turned the pages for everyone to actually a level footing. It curtailed the option to continue work as usual, disrupted traditional rules and processes as companies seek to protect workers, maintain continuity of business, and service to customers. So I think the four clusters that I talked about earlier, digital connectivity, automation, robotics, smart systems and platforms, are foundation pieces of digitization in the industry to resolve bread and butter issues. And they will not go away. In fact, the urgency is even there, more now than before, as shipping, as you will know, is gravely affected by the drop in volumes, the likely changes of volume flows, and new operating constraints, which I think will accelerate digital solutions so that business can continue and players can emerge stronger. Now, one key advantage that COVID, or key major change that COVID has done to all of us, it has broken barriers in traditional mindset and probably will be a strong instigator of cultural changes. Hence, it is a ripe environment for digital change to happen. I think three urgent areas in the industry will deserve attention and potential opportunities for startups. One, I think contactless, remote telecommuting, process automation, particularly in backroom planning and support functions, will accelerate. Now that digital is seen as a viable option compared to the inconveniences of additional risk mitigating measures, having to get to work in offices and shop floors, people are more prepared to live with imperfections in new processes and systems as long as business can continue. Now, culture changes in organization are definitely going to happen because management workforce are more prepared now, will be more prepared now to adapt to rigid work processes which transcend across previously what would be I call rigid functional silos. So, and technology will definitely play a huge role here for that to happen. Finally, I think the workforce is definitely more willing to rely on digital chat channels and tools to do their work. But there are limitations to doing a lot of work offsite. And they will actually look forward to increased use of machines so that machines can augment men for decisions to be taken more expediently. Automated decisions could also be done so that there are no hold up even when an employee is not online or in the office. I think the second area of potential opportunity would be the use of wearables I can think of, with particular increased focus on safety to protect workers, to protect crew, working on board ships and cranes, the need for trackers, smart trackers for identification of location, density count, violation of no-go zones to conduct safe maintenance, use of safe watch, shirt, new materials to detect vital signs, health monitoring, personnel checks, video analytics for safety and security enforcement will all be new areas that will require a lot of attention. The third urgent area or third area of change that I will see with COVID will really be the push and increased participation in smart next generation end-to-end platforms. As government and businesses will want to reconfigure supply chains to strengthen resilience and particularly to have better visibility and ability to orchestrate and synchronize movements. So new visibilities are required in order to track inventory, to anticipate and cushion movement disruptions, as well as to ensure continuity of source of goods, in particular critical ones such as food and healthcare, during this crisis and probably the next crisis and over again. Now, I would like to leave you really with some thoughts on what could be likely upcoming tech trends, or maybe I'll leave you with 3 questions. I think number one is, could we have more realistic expectations of what machine could do or should do, and finding the right balance of man and machine collaboration in the various areas of pain points that we have on board ships and in terminal. I think we shouldn't be in a hurry. Should we really be in a hurry to take the man out of the equation? And what were the right pickings for automation? Whatever that could be automated easily without resistance, without problems, would have been automated. I think going forward, man-machine collaboration is important so that we can tap both sides for what they do best. Processes could be redesigned to enable machine learning AI machines to perform parameterized decisions, but with support from data insights, and they can learning from man or data points that were used in decisions or non-routine decisions. That combination of man-machine, the right combination, is something worth looking at. I think the fusion of technologies to add depth to integrated solutions will be in very much demand. Previously, startups come with very singular technology. They want to pitch the best of the technologies. I think going forward, solutions are needed rather than single technologies. Example, IoT platforms that are paired with touch sensors, 3D machine vision, so better sensing, machine learning software, behavioral analytics could work together to offer a more holistic solution offering for safety management. Now, if startups do not have, obviously startups will not have access to all of this. So it is also a timely opportunity to consider collaboration with other startups so that when you approach corporates, it's an integrated solution. Now, in cases where technologies are not ready, but when there are practical implementation issues, we could consider man-guided machines for solutions. For example, truck platooning, which is one man driving a few automated trucks following the man-driven truck. Another example would be adaptive robots for coning, deconing operations, where there is still a man in the loop. It could be one man with 3 robots that allow this new generation of robots with self-learning, 3D computer machine vision capabilities to work together in the coning and deconing of containers. I think the second question I have, or point that I want to make about going forward, it's really about standards. I think it's been a topic that's been talked a lot. My point is there will be likely proliferation of platforms, and hence across the board, data standardization, especially across platforms, will involve a multitude of stakeholders and surely take a very long time. So do we really have the luxury of waiting for full standardization? Are there technologies or solutions work around to ensure interconnectivity between platforms across different domains? Can tech innovation address this? And I think anybody who has that winning solution will score big time in this. Last but not least, cybersecurity, it's going to be there. I think we had a MERS incident in 2017. We had a Costco incident in 2018. We have an MSC incident in 2020. So the signs are there. And given the mixed match of legacy systems with different levels of readiness to tackle cyber threats and having more connectivity and more platforms, the risk is going to be there. Can tech innovations address more intuitive cybersecurity to cover the gaps that's going to be even more apparent going forward? Now, with that, I hope I have shared with you enough view of the industry. Good luck to all of you. May you have fun and may you prosper in your conversation with the corporates. Thank you.